Is it Saturday already? Wow, wow. Another crazy news week for Star Wars news. It seems like this stuff just never stops coming. But a Mandalorian video game? This is pretty wild. We're going to talk about all of this. Also, the Bad Batch is only 4 days away, so we're going to get really hyped up by reading this interview from D. Bradley Baker. We're also going to talk about what is coming in these first 3 episodes, because we're getting a 3-episode premiere on Wednesday, and whether or not we think that this show will come out on Wednesday, or if it'll be like that Tuesday 9 p.m. slot instead of the Wednesday 3 a.m. slot. So how's everybody doing on this fine Saturday evening, I should say? What's up, guys? It's Mike, a guy who loves Star Wars. We got a lot to talk about today. A Mandalorian video game is in the works right now at Respawn Entertainment. We're going to break it all down, but how's everybody doing on this fine Saturday evening? Are you guys excited? Are you excited for another stream? We're doing call-ins tonight. We're talking Mando game tonight, and the Bad Batch is just 4 days away. 4 days away. That's it. Until we get to see this final 3rd season, which has been so hyped up, being said as the best animated season of Star Wars content we've ever seen. This season could be the real deal with the Asajj Ventress, possibly Boba Fett, possibly Darth Vader, Palpatine and his plans with Exegol, tying in the entire saga together from the prequels to The Mandalorian to the sequel trilogy. This 3rd season of The Bad Batch is going to be something special, and I can't wait. But how's everybody doing on this fine Saturday evening? Have we smashed a like on this stream yet? Like, what are you waiting for? Why have we not smashed a like on this stream yet? What are we waiting for? What's going on? Let me update the chat so I can see what you guys are talking about. Let's see. Tony, what's up? War Gaming, how we doing? Fearless, what is up? Jay, how we doing? The Carbonite Jedi, what's up? How we doing? Low energy Mike today? I know, I'm not feeling it today, you know? That's a good one, Tony. Good one. Good one. And yes, the correct answer to today's trivia question was Corellia was the home planet of Captain Solo, Han Solo himself, as you can see from the Solo movie. Very, very good. Jay says, hi, Mike. How are you doing? I'm doing good today. I'm feeling good today. I'm excited for this stream today. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be a real good one. I can already tell. People seems to be pretty damn excited for this Mando game. The Bad Batch is just inching closer and closer and closer. I can almost taste it. And I can't wait. I really, really can't wait. This is going to be awesome. Yeah. Tiffany, what's up? Fearless says, I'm fine. I just finished watching The Bad Batch Season 2 today, and now I'm waiting for Season 3. I know. I watched through all the first 2 seasons, like, so quickly. Like, a few days it took me. That's it. And that was like a week ago, so I'm ready. I'm ready. Yeah. Tony says, are we going for 3 hours today? Absolutely not. I don't think I could survive 3 hours of a stream. Maybe I could, but there's not usually enough to talk about for 3 hours. We'll put it that way. Yeah. We'll put it that way. So, why have we not smashed a like on the stream yet? All right, let's start up with a poll about this Mando game. Let's start with the Mando news first, and then we'll switch over to the Bad Batch news and some predictions coming for this week's episodes. All right, so let's start with the Mando game. Are you excited? Oops. Yes, excited for the Mandalorian game? Yes or no? You tell me. Are you excited for this Mando game? Are you going to play it? Are you going to get it? Are you going to do any blah, 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 blah. We're going to break down what's going on with this game, how we're doing, all this other stuff, so we'll talk about it. The Carbonite Jedi says, Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 2. Hello there. Season 2, I don't know. We can talk about that later because I don't think it's going to happen, but yeah. Yeah. All right, let's dive into this news. Where is this coming from? Is this reliable? Is this game really happening? Yes, and yes, even though those aren't answers to some of those questions I just asked. This is coming from the Insider Gaming, okay? One of the best, if not the best, insiders in the game of gaming? In the world of gaming and news about video games. This is the best source you can have. And they are saying that Respawn is developing a Mando game. So let's read this article. Let's read it up here and let's talk about this, okay? I don't know why my chat is being strange over here. Let me fix this first. Okay, let's dive into the... Oh, no, right. Go back here. Go back. All right, fixed it. Okay, here we go. Let's dive into this news, all right? I'm not getting enough hype in this chat. Like, are we not excited for this Mando game? Are we not excited? Are you not entertained? Come on, we.
This is where the fun begins.
Has the fun not begun yet? Has the fun not begun? Let's dive into this. Okay, so this is coming from Insider Gaming. Exclusive. Respawn is developing a first-person Star Wars Mandalorian game. Now, we'll get into the first-person aspect of this in a second, but a Mando game is in development at Respawn. So who's Respawn? What's a Mando game? We're going to dive into all of it. So this is a cool art from actually The Mandalorian Season 2, I believe. Insider Gaming sources have revealed that Respawn Entertainment is developing a first-person Star Wars Mandalorian game that is in its early stages of development. Early stages is kind of the key words there. According to sources, the game will see the player take control of the Mandalorian bounty hunter, unclear who, but come on guys, it's probably Din Djarin, and it says, set during the time of the Galactic Empire is dominating across the galaxy. It's your job as a bounty hunter to capture bounties alive or dead for rewards. Now that description, again, it's still very far away, so we don't really know how well this is. We'll get into how far this really is away, but that kind of describes Boba Fett, but I still think that it's going to be Din Djarin. As first reported by Venture Beats Jeff Grubb, the game was being led by Respawn creative director Mohammed Alavi, who left the studio to pursue his next adventure. So the guy who was doing this project at first left the studio. According to Grubb, who didn't disclose it was a Star Wars game at the time, but has recently said that the game will be focused on mobility and style as guiding principles. Style, Din Djarin. Mobility, Grogu. Okay. The game's high mobility has been made possible, had made possible storytelling-wise thanks to the Mandalorian's jetpack, which of course we're guessing that you can probably fly around. Honey Badger, what's up? We can fly around with the jetpack, which allows the players to perform horizontal dashing, vertical jumping, and boost sliding, somewhat similar to the sliding down hills in Apex Legends. Any of you guys play Apex Legends? I know Honey Badger does. It's another Respawn game. Sources describe the game as very fast-paced, and as such will reward players for who play in this style. For example, the player's health will mainly regenerate based on successive skills. Jesus, easy for me to say. As to expect, playing as a Mandalorian bounty hunter gives the player a wide variety of weapons and gadgets, including wrist rockets, grappling hooks, a visor for tagging enemies, and bounties, and more. So obviously Din Djarin has a bunch of cool gadgets and gizmos in the Mandalorian, and a lot of weapons, from his awesome cool rifle that he has in the first couple seasons that kind of just goes away, to his blaster, his small little pistol blaster, and then of course his wrist rockets, his knee rockets, his rocket rockets, his rocket rockets, you know? He's got a lot of stuff going on. It's understood that the game will not be an open world one. Interesting. And with linear levels taking place on a variety of different planets in the Star Wars universe. So what this reminds me of is Jedi Survivor, and we'll get to that in a second. Well, it is unclear when this game will be released. It was said that it is still at least a year or two away at the very least. It's unclear if the game will have a multiplayer experience or not, which I doubt. But do you think that the Mandalorian Star Wars game by Respawn, what do you think about the... All right, so let's talk about this. This is the initial report. I got some other articles going on there as well, but let's talk about that just from the jump. So Respawn Entertainment, who is that? Respawn is most known for the game of Apex Legends, Titanfall, but for Star Wars fans, they created Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, the two games that follow Cal Kestis after the events of Order 66, in between the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy. Those two games are created by the same company, Respawn. So Respawn created those games, and now they're going to be creating a Mando game along with Jedi 3, because there will be a third game that follows Cal Kestis to finish off the trilogy. Now, here's why I think The Mandalorian is going to be very similar to those Jedi games. They clarify here that it's not open world. It is not, which is interesting because neither is Jedi Survivor. It has a feel to it as like open world kind of is, but it's not. There's a lot of limitations when it comes to Jedi Survivor. The planets you go to are a little bit different than planets that we love from Star Wars. You're not going to Tatooine. You're not going to Coruscant. You actually do go to Coruscant, but you can't explore Coruscant. You're not going to Naboo. You're not going to Endor or any of those planets. You're going to... I don't even remember what the planets are in Jedi Survivor, honestly. Cabo might be one of them. I honestly don't remember. Oh, Dathomir is one of them. Dathomir is a pretty big one. But they're less like B-level planets in Star Wars because character of Cal Kestis can't really be showing up on Coruscant during that time in the galaxy. I think The Mandalorian will have the same sort of open-worldedness, not being open world, but you can kind of explore these planets pretty well. And that will be Tatooine, Navarro, planets that we've seen in The Mandalorian. And that's kind of how it will be more like Jedi Survivor. I think a lot of the movements and game mechanics will be very similar to Jedi Survivor as well, although this might be first person. That's the rumor right now. It is a first person game, and that means you'll be playing from the point of view of Din Djarin, not like third person, like whether you're behind Cal Kestis when you're playing as Cal Kestis in Jedi Survivor. So it might be first person, which is interesting to say the least. But that is the report from the Insider Gaming. What do we get from that? Because I do have a few other articles to get to, which we will in a second here. But what do we think about this game? Are you excited for it? Do you want a Mando game? Have you been waiting for a Mando game for years? What do we think? By the way, 78% of you guys say yes, you are excited for this Mando game, which is pretty good. Pretty good. All right, let's see where we're at in the chat. What's up, Tiffany? How we doing? Honey Badger says, yeah, Mando game. And somehow I have returned. Nice. Tiffany says, I love me some Mando, so definitely excited for this game. Yeah. And we'll talk about the release date a little bit after I catch up on some chats, but that's also very interesting. Fearless says, I can bring you in warm or I can bring you in cold. I wonder if Pedro Pascal will do the voiceover. That's a good question. Will Pedro Pascal come and do the voiceover? I think maybe. Maybe. It depends on how much time he really has. This guy has a pretty big schedule. Right now he's filming The Last of Us 2. He just got done filming Gladiator 2. He's going to start doing Fantastic Four. It was just confirmed that he will play Reed Richards in the MCU. That will take up a lot of his time. He's a pretty busy man, to say the least. He's a pretty busy man. So whether or not he has time to voice a video game remains to be seen. Now, voice acting and acting are very different things. They do take a lot of time still, voice acting that is, but it's not nearly as hands-on as acting needs to be. Yeah. Honey Badger says, the hype is real. Screw the Last of Us game. Give Pedro Pascal what he wants, more Mando time. I don't know if he wants that, honestly. Honestly, I really don't. I think he would rather go do other things than Star Wars. I know that he loves Star Wars and loves the character of Din Djarin, but his mask is not coming off anytime soon. That was made clear in Season 3. And yes, we got the Mando mug out today. Of course we do. Celebrating this Mando game. Of course we do. Apex is goated. Apex is good, yeah. Yeah. You still won't see his face. No. So, Tony, you're right. You won't see his face. You won't see his face in the game, and you won't see his face probably in the Mando movie that's coming up in a few years as well. Din Djarin, you probably won't see his face for a long time. Yeah. I'm so hyped for this game. Man, bring in some more Star Wars games like the Jedi series and take all my money. Yeah. If you're going to make more games like Jedi Survivor, you're going to make a lot of money. A lot of money. And Disney is realizing this now. Lucasfilm and Disney have just signed this massive $1.5 billion collab with Epic Games that we talked about last week. So they're really getting into the gaming industry because, I don't know if you guys know this, but the gaming industry has more revenue than both the movie industry and the music industry combined. The video game industry is massive. And now Lucasfilm is realizing that, oh shit, maybe we should get on board with this. Maybe make some more Star Wars video games because those Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order made us a ton of money because those sold millions upon millions of copies. Yeah. Wargaming says, I'm very excited, but I'm more excited for Star Wars Outlaws. So Star Wars Outlaws is an interesting one for me. I am more excited for that game right now because it's sooner. That game comes out this year. It's an open world Star Wars game. It's set in the time period that we want to be in between episode 5 and episode 6. With the underworld of Star Wars, you got Jabba the Hutt in the trailer. You got Han and Carbonite in the trailer. You're probably going to see Boba Fett. You're probably going to run into the Empire a lot, maybe Darth Vader. Like, that game could be really, really cool. And it's open world. Did I mention it's open world? It's open world. So that's also very cool. So Outlaws, I am very excited for, and it's right around the corner. It comes out this year. This game is still in early development, so it's still a far way away. I'm excited for it, but I'm not as excited as I am for Star Wars Outlaws, just like you said, Wargaming. Yeah. Tony says, didn't Jedi Survivor game have an option to buy some bounty hunting, or to do some bounty hunting? Kind of. There was bounty hunters trying to track you down. And you actually worked for another bounty hunter. So kind of there was some bounty hunting going on in Jedi Survivor, but those were kind of more side missions. Spoiler alert for Jedi Survivor, if you haven't played it, plug your ears for the next 2 seconds. Boba Fett is in the game. Boba Fett makes a surprise appearance, and that's pretty cool. So I think the Mando game could give us a ton of different bounty hunters in the forms of Boba Fett, Bosk, IG-88, and others, of course. Dengar, probably. Yeah. You never know. We could have a Mando game set before Season 1 and after Season 3. A Mando game before Season 1 would kind of be cool because Din Djarin is a brand new character in Season 1. And we don't really know much of his backstory other than the fact that he was brought in as a foundling by the Mandalorians. But before that, before the Mandalorian Season 1, we don't know much about him, except for that he was just a bounty hunter and pretty well known for it across the galaxy. So, yeah, that would be kind of cool. If it was set before the Mandalorian Season 1, yeah, that would be pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah. So Respawn must have noted that they're doing a full game on bounty hunting. Pedro is off to Marvel to do Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four. Yes, he is. But he will have time to do voiceovers. I think he might have time to do voiceovers, for sure. But if he'll want to do it, they could always get somebody who sounds like Pedro to come in and do the voice, but we'll see. All right, let's talk about this. When will this game take place? Or sorry, when will it be released? Let's talk about that first. So when will this game be released? They said it's in early development, and it's likely going to be a year, if not 2 years at least, to get this game out. So a year to 2 years at least. So I'd guess probably closer to 2 years, if not a little bit further than 2 years. What's coming out in 2 years? The Mandalorian and Grogu movie. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie comes out in May of 2026. That's 2 years and like 3-4 months from now. So, The Mandalorian Season 3 came out last year, at the beginning of last year, meaning there'll be over 3 years between The Mandalorian Season 3 and the Mando movie. 3 years. That's a long time. That's a massive time for Star Wars fans to not see the character of Din Djarin and Grogu. You're going to see The Bad Batch, you're going to see Tales of the Jedi, you're going to see Ahsoka Season 2, Andor Season 2, Acolyte, Skeleton Crew. You're going to get a ton of different stories from Mando Season 3 to this Mando movie that don't involve Din and Grogu. These stories just won't have them involved. So, in order to grow hype or remind people about the characters of Din and Grogu, what's a better way than releasing this Mando game right before the movie comes out, or at least a few months before the movie comes out? That gives the game at least 2 years to be perfected, 2 years to be finished, and come out in around now, February of 2026, and give us time to get hyped up for the movie in May, allowing you to play as Din and Grogu before their movie comes out. How awesome would that be? Allowing us to dive into the world, get sort of familiar again with these two characters before we get to go see them on the big screen, before they make their big screen debut. How awesome would that be? Yeah. Honey Badger says, Jedi Survivor is a masterpiece. Come at me, and Snore fans. Why'd you just attack the Andor fans for no reason at the end of that? Jedi Survivor is a masterpiece. I would argue with anybody who doesn't think it's a good game. It is perfect. I mean, from combat-wise to story-wise, it's really good. When the story aspect of it is so good when the action aspect of it is so good that even the story itself is elevated because of it, that's when you know you're in real good hands, for sure. David, what's up, says, I hope Omega's death is done with respect for her, but how does she die? How do I think she's going to die? Honestly, I still am holding out hope that she won't die in this third season. It still remains to be seen whether or not she will die in this third season, but I'm hoping that she doesn't. With that being said, if she did die, how would they do it? I don't know. How would you guys want to see Omega die in this third season? I would have to say, if Omega was to die in this third season, it would have to be some sort of sacrifice, obviously, to sort of save her brothers or save clones in general, because she grew up on Kamino. It would have to be something like her blowing up Mount Tantus, her sacrificing herself to destroy all of it. But I just don't see that happening. I think it's more likely that the other Bad Batch members will die and Omega will stay alive. But that's just how I see it, you know? Fearless says, Omega doesn't die. She will survive, just like Crosshair. Fearless, Crosshair's a goner. And I see you changed your profile picture to Crosshair. I love it, but he's a goner. Yeah. Fearless follows up and says, do you think that the Mando game is already in development? Yes. It's in early development, but that doesn't mean that it's not already being developed. I think it is in development right now. Yeah. Keto, what's up? Says, Din could be in Ahsoka Season 2. He could be. He definitely could be. I think if he was to be in that season, he would be in it towards the end. I think a lot of Season 2 of Ahsoka will take place on Peridia. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And then the other aspect of Season 2 will be the New Republic, and then pretty much just shitting their pants, being like, oh shit, Thrawn's back. And what Thrawn's doing, because he's probably gaining an army, and he's bringing the whole remnant of the Empire back together, and he's doing all that stuff behind the scenes. So I think that's what's going to happen in Ahsoka Season 2. I don't know how much Din Djarin's going to be involved in that story. Yeah. Yeah. Tony says, 3 years, Grogu could have Grogu a little. What? Oh, Grogu could have grown a little, maybe, you mean? Yeah, I mean, maybe. Getting a little bit older of a Grogu would be nice. Would be nice. Grogu has aged. When you go back and look at Grogu in episode 1 of season 1, he's really aged a lot. Let's actually take a look at that. Let's take a gander at this. Grogu, episode 1 versus now. If you take a look at Grogu in the first scene of, oh my god, that's terrifying. There's this weird concept art of Grogu and it looks horrifying. All right, hang on. Grogu, all right, that's Grogu from now. We'll keep that up. And then Grogu, episode 1, season 1. Yeah, look at how much Grogu has grown since even season 1 of The Mandalorian. This is Grogu now. Look at all those wrinkles. He's seen so much. He's been through it. He's been through it. And then this is Grogu in episode 1. Oh, that's me. That's not Grogu. This is Grogu now. This is Grogu in episode 1. He looks like a literal baby, and then he looks like an actual child here. He's definitely done some growing over these last seasons of The Mandalorian, so I could definitely see a growth spurt in his future. For sure. Yeah. Fearless says, it takes years and years for a game to be ready to come out. That's true. That is true. But this game seems to already have been in development for quite a little bit here. Because the Jeff Grubb rumor was from like last year, I think even earlier than that. This is just confirming that it was a Mando movie that he was talking about. Yeah. He does have big ass ears. You're right. War Gaming says, off the video game topic, what if we had a Bad Batch video game? That would be kind of cool. Will that Oh, on the video game topic, not off the video game topic. I was going to say, that's very on the video game topic. A Bad Batch video game would be kind of cool, but you're running out of time to do that. The show is over in like 10 weeks, so you're running out of time for that one. I don't think so. It would be kind of cool, but again, it would be hard to do because you'd have to sort of be able to play as all different characters. What would the story be? I don't know. There would have to be a lot to go into that, but I think a Mando game has much more chance of being successful. We'll put it that way. Yeah. Honey Badger says, all the Bad Batch and Sid will die, but Omega will go off on her own adventure with Asajj Ventress. Look for her brother Alpha, a.k.a. Boba Fett. Yeah, I think that's probably something that will happen, for sure. Don't worry about it. Ian, what's up? How we doing? I definitely think that's something that will happen. I think a lot of the Bad Batch are going to die, if not all of them. Omega will probably survive, and it will lead us to the next show with Asajj and Omega. Yeah. Keeping my hopes up, Fearless, I know you are. I know you are. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's dive into this next article about this game. This is coming from IGN, and let's read this one first because they have some concept art here that's pretty damn cool that we got to take a look at. So, this is coming from IGN. This is Star Wars Mandalorian video game reportedly in the works at Respawn. So, Star Wars Jedi games and Apex Legends developer Respawn Entertainment is reportedly working on a first-person Mando video game. The keywords here are first-person. Like, those Jedi games aren't first-person. Those are third-person. First-person games you are literally seeing what Din Djarin's seeing. It's from his point of view. So, that's different. That's very different from what the Jedi games are, which is interesting. And honestly, I would probably prefer third-person if it were a Mando game, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Insider Gaming, which we just read, reports that Respawn's Mandalorian game, which is in early stages of development, lets players control a Mando bounty hunter during the time of the Empire is dominating the galaxy. This could still be referring to Thrawn in the remnant of the Empire as they are dominating around the galaxy. IGN has asked EA for comments. The player is reportedly tasked with taking on bounties for cash, as you might expect from a Mandalorian video game, obviously. There's words of iconic Mandalorian jetpack plays a part in the game, high mobility. So there's going to be high mobility because of the jetpack, with boosts sliding similar to the Respawn Battle Royale Apex Legends. So this is some concept art from the Mandalorian itself, the show, and this is pretty damn cool. So we're going to take a look at this in a second. But it's said to be fast-paced with health regenerating upon successful kills. Gadgets, supposedly including wrist rockets, grappling hooks. We just talked about this. According to Gaming Inside Gaming, Jesus, this Mando game is not open world. Rather be a linear level set across multiple planets. There's no word on multiplayer as of now. Blah 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 blah. All right, let's take a look at these concept arts from the Mandalorian's first season, I believe. All these are from the first season, but these are pretty damn cool. This is from episode 1, obviously. This is actually in the thumbnail of this video right here. This is pretty damn sick. Some of this concept art is incredible. By Nick Grindrax. I don't know if he does a lot of this stuff, but it's pretty damn good. So let's take a look at this. Tiffany says, okay, first person kind of bothers me. I would prefer a third person view. I agree. I think third person is a better view for a lot of Star Wars games, especially. I mean, you look at the Jedi game's success. I don't know why you would go about that differently, especially when you're playing as a Mando. Like, you want to see what the Mando looks like and jetpacking around and flying around and stuff. Like, you want to see that. So you want to see this. This is third person right here. This is what we want to see. All right, let's look through these. Din meeting Grogu for the first time. This is IG-11 sitting on the ground. Oh, there's multiple IG-11s. So you can just see that this was at one point how they thought this was going to go. There you go. You got IG-11 standing nice and pretty. See, why get rid of this blaster right here? The one that, like, literally incinerated people? That thing was so cool. Come on. Nice cantina. Quill. Oh, these are all by different people. Different concept artists. That's cool. Grogu looks like his eyes are going to pop out of his head in that. It's so sad that he died so quickly. I have spoken. Can I get some I have spokens in the chat for Queel? Jeez. Let's respect the man. The man, the myth, the legend. This was in the first episode. You got a walrus-looking thing there. I don't think that's what it looked like in the show. This is all from like the early episodes. The Mudhorn. Din and Grogu hanging out, fixing the Razor Crest. This is a good one. Din walking away with Grogu peering over his shoulder. The egg! The egg! Getting attacked by the Jawas. Paz Vizsla. Just out of nowhere, Paz Vizsla. The client. The armorer. That's pretty cool. That's a good one. And all the Mandos coming to save the day. Jawas on Navarro. These are pretty sick. Pretty damn cool. Paz Vizsla. Ooh, this is when we get to that planet there with Cara Dune. Oh, there's Cara. Wow. That's pretty cool. Pretty damn cool. This was an incredible episode. This episode goes extremely underrated, I must say. It's kind of like a one-off episode, like a spin-off episode, but it's incredible. Oh, back to Tatooine. This is supposed to be Pelimoto. She was supposed to be like an ancient old lady. That's crazy. That's wild. Oh, and that's it. This is cool. Pelimoto was supposed to be an old lady. That's wild. That's pretty cool. Okay, so that's some concept art, but let's get into this because they actually talk about some different stuff here. So, Star Wars Mandalorian game in the works at one of the industry's best studios. So is this game in good hands? Here we go. According to this new report from a very reliable source, a first-person Star Wars Mando game is in development at Respawn Entertainment, the EA-owned studio responsible for Apex Legends, Titanfall, and the Star Wars Jedi series. It is unclear what this means for the future of the Jedi series following Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, but according to this rumor, the game is already in stages of development, which means that there is no mention of a release date beyond the note that the game is at least 2 years away. The article said at least 1 to 2 years away, but yeah. Perhaps due to this, platforms are also not mentioned. Yeah. So, speaking about Jedi 3, Jedi 3 is still in development. They've confirmed that themselves a few weeks ago, I believe, that Jedi 3 is already in development. I believe Cameron Monaghan spoke about that. Yeah. As for the report, it comes of the way of insider gaming, and more specifically, Tom Henderson, one of the industry's best sources and a source who has relayed accurate information pertaining to EA games in the past. In other words, the information comes from a source who would have an inside scoop on the project. Unfortunately, this inside scoop doesn't contain a wealth of details on the game, nor does it mention anything about Xbox exclusivity, something previous rumors about the project have mentioned. Oh, really? I did not know that it could have been Xbox exclusive. What is noted for the game is the focus on mobility and style, which we kind of touched on, which suggests that there will be a more faithful to the arcadey experience rather than the faithful to realism experience. The Mandalorian's jetpack is mentioned, which apparently allows the player to perform horizontal dashing, vertical jumping, and boost sliding, and more. To this end, this aspect of the game is likened to Apex Legends, and like Apex Legends, this will apparently be a very fast-paced game and reward players who adapt this playing style. One way it will do this is by regenerating health by a successful kill. We talked about that. So, given that it's a bounty hunter game, players can also expect to have a wide range of weapons at their disposal. This arsenal supposedly includes wrist rockets, grappling hooks, and visors that will allow people to target their enemies and bounties. With all this mobility, you may expect the game to be open world, but it is said that Respawn Entertainment has instead opted for a more linear level So open world is very tough to do. Open world in Star Wars is even more hard to do because open world means open galaxy, and that's extremely difficult, and that's why Star Wars Outlaws later this year is going to be so damn cool. But this game is not open world. Yeah. The report also makes note that the game was once led by creative director Mohammed Alavi, who has since left the studio. Apparently, it is never great to lose your creative director in the middle of a project, especially this early. So this is worth consideration. And of course, remember, everything is a rumor and thus should be taken with a giant grain of salt. Further, even if everything here is accurate, it doesn't mean that it will remain accurate over time. Everything is always subject to change. This is pretty good and important here. This is just a rumor for now. This game is just a rumor. Respawn isn't out here confirming this, but the source that it's coming from is extremely reliable. So no, it's not open world. No, it's not coming out anytime soon. And yes, it's probably going to be first person, but it still is a Mando game. Still is a bounty hunting Star Wars game set in the galaxy far, far away. And again, like I said, open world and not open world in Star Wars aren't that far from being separate. Jedi Survivor feels open world, but it's not. It's just not at all. You just have a lot of worlds to explore. That's why I'm very confused as to how this Star Wars Outlaw game is really going to be open world. How are you going to make an entire Star Wars galaxy open world? That's going to be extremely cool to see, and I can't wait. I just don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know. It's going to be pretty damn cool. It's going to be pretty damn cool. But let me read what's going on here in the chat. Okay. Ian says, I don't play games, so I'm not that excited. There you go, Ian. David says, good point. I changed my mind. Omega will live. And like Fearless said, she'll survive like Crosshair. Also, Fennec Shand will ally herself with the Bad Batch. But how will she prove that she's not a bad person? Well, I mean, she already saved Omega in the first season. I think she already kind of proved that to at least Omega. She did save her in the first season. So I don't know how she'll prove it to the other Bad Batch members, but I'm sure she will in some way. Because I do think Fennec Shand will be a good guy in this third season. And I think we're led to believe that she'll be a bad guy in the trailer where you see her with Cad Bane. But I don't think that's what's going to happen here. Yeah. Honey Badger says, I need this game now. Well, it's still probably going to be a few years away. But the good news is you're going to have, for at least Star Wars video games wise, you're going to have some other Star Wars video games before that. You're going to have Star Wars Outlaws. You're probably going to have Star Wars Eclipse, if I were to guess, before then. I certainly hope. But yeah, I'm sure we'll get a bunch of other stuff as well. And obviously, there's a ton of shows coming out before then, but that's not a video game, I guess. Tiffany says, okay, first person kind of bothers me. I would prefer third person view. I already read that, but yes, I agree. I think a third person view is better, especially in a Star Wars game. First person games are fun. They are. But when it comes to Star Wars, third person's where it's at. You want to be seeing the character you're playing as. You want to see their surroundings. You want to see all the cool stuff in Star Wars, you know? Yeah. Tony says, I don't play games either. I wait for the movies to be made for the games to view. What? I wait for a movie to be made about the game to view. They're usually mad a few days after the game is distributed. What? They're usually mad a few days after the game is distributed. I'm confused. I don't know what you're talking about, but yes, sure. Fearless says, I don't play games that much either, but I do watch gameplay. There you go. Yeah, I'll definitely be playing through this game. I'll be playing through Star Wars Outlaws. We played through Jedi Survivor last year. I love playing through the Star Wars games, especially on the channel when you guys are here and you want to watch and we actually have conversations together. That's way more fun. I don't like playing by myself. I like playing party games or multiplayer games. And I'll only ever play a first-person game or a solo game, a campaign game, whatever you want to call it, by myself if I get to stream it with you guys. So that's what I'll be doing with all these Star Wars games. And then finally, at some point, somebody's got to make a multiplayer game so that we can all play together. Battlefront 2 just ain't doing it anymore because it's not cross-platform. It's not getting new updates. The graphics aren't as great anymore. Yeah, that we really need Battlefront 3. Can we get Battlefront 3 going? Come on. Come on. CRK Series, what's up? Says gaming rig. What's my gaming rig? Well, I got this big ass PC that I'm streaming on right now, but I also play Xbox. Xbox Series X. Not to be confused with Xbox One X or whatever it is. I don't even know. Yeah. I have spoken. That's great. David says, what could be cool is a glory system like Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? I never played the Doom game, so I don't know what that means. Yeah. Anthony, what's up, says, do you think that Palpatine would make a Godzilla? Yes. Probably. He captures the Zillo Beast. That's like Star Wars Godzilla, if that's what you mean. I guess. Fearless says, I think it will never be known the species of Yoda and Grogu. It will stay a Star Wars mystery forever. George Lucas said it too. Oh, I should have read this one first. David says, what is Yoda's species? And that still hasn't been addressed. Thanks for Disney for making us figure it out. Yeah, no, we'll never probably figure that out. They're never going to tell us what his species is. That just won't happen. Yoda's going to remain a mystery for a long time. Yeah. Mike isn't old enough to play Doom. Hey. You're probably right. I wasn't playing much video games in 2016, honestly, but other than Fortnite, probably. Isn't that when that came out? Yeah, I didn't play Doom. No, I did not. But what's Yoda's species? We'll never find out. Hopefully, we never find out. With Grogu, it scares me because I think Disney might give him an explanation. Yeah. I watch Hollow a lot when new games come out, and he does a full gameplay. I don't know who that is, but great. Sure. Yeah. Honey Badger says, missed y'all. I try to be in here more often. Well, Honey Badger, we missed you. So be here. Tony says, Mando will need a Razor Crest again if he intends to do bounty hunting. That's true. How is Mando going to do bounty hunting for even the New Republic after Season 3 of The Mandalorian with his N1 Starfighter? Is he just going to shove bounties in Grogu's little pod area back there? Like, how does that work? He doesn't have the Razor Crest to fit all of his bounties in anymore. I don't know. That'll be interesting. It is kind of a bummer that they destroyed the Razor Crest the way that they did. Season 2 of The Mandalorian is so good that there's very little flaws in it. And honestly, I think one of the flaws is destroying the Razor Crest. I get why it had to happen, because you had to have Boba Fett be the guy who was shuttling them around for the rest of the time. And that's what allows them to do that, because Din Djarin would have just been able to get in the Razor Crest and fly away. So that makes sense. But come on, the Razor Crest is goated. We need the Razor Crest back. Come on. David says, Republic Commando was only a one console Mando, but it made sense for the Mandalorian one console game Mando. But it made sense for the Mandalorian game to be a multi-platform Xbox Series X and PlayStation and PC. Yeah, I don't even know if you're saying Republic Commando was only on one console. I get you. It was an exclusive. I get you. Yeah. I'm guessing this won't be an exclusive. That's just kind of alienating your audience, because then they have to be Xbox players, and that's just stupid. I think you want to make it all cross-platformed, just like the Jedi games. Yeah, that'd be stupid. Fearless says, if they use the whole Star Wars map for Outlaws, then this game is going to be massive. Yeah, that's true too. How many planets are we really going to get to explore in Star Wars Outlaw? Is it really going to be open galaxy, or is it going to be just a few planets that are open world? Now, I'm hoping that it's open galaxy. We know Tatooine's at least one of the planets. We've seen another sort of deserty-ish planet in the trailer. But, like, is Coruscant going to be playable? Is Naboo going to be playable? Is Endor going to be playable? Is Hoth going to be playable? Is Kamino going to be playable? Actually, Kamino would be gone by now. But, like, is it going to just be a few planets that aren't really that significant? Or is it going to be a lot of planets? That'll be interesting to see. And I don't know how they're going to do it if it is all the planets. That'll be impossible, but we'll see. Ian says, Sheev will take Omega to Palpatine. Omega to Exegol. Palpatine will take Omega to Exegol. Easy for me to say. That would be insane. If this season ends with Palpatine taking Omega to Exegol, holy shit. That would be wild. That would be insane. Yeah. Yeah. That would be insane. Then give her a little lightning treatment so that she doesn't go dark. Whoa. That's a little dark. Honey Badger says he can use a Jedi-type ring and use carbonite to carry his prey. A Jedi-type... Oh, like the rings that the Jedi's ships go into? Yeah, but then again, like, where would he just put the carbonite? Where would he put the carbonite body? It wouldn't fit on his ship, you know? Razor Crest and Darksaber, worst choices. The Darksaber is a little bit less of a bummer to me because the Darksaber needed to be destroyed so that the Mandalorians wouldn't be so obsessive about it anymore. I do think a Darksaber will be created again, probably by Grogu, in the somewhat distant future. But I'm not that bummed that it's gone. No. Well, let's not get our hopes up because theory had us believing that we were going to get 10 to 15 open world planets in Survivor, and in reality we only got 5.5. I have no idea if he said that, but I don't really know. Yeah, I wouldn't get your hopes up that it's going to be like 1 million open worlds in Outlaws, but I would guess there would be at least 4 or 5, if not more. Yeah. It's a carrier undercarriage. I don't know. I think he needs a bigger ship. I just think he needs a bigger ship for sure. Ian says, yep, the Darksaber needed to go. I agree with that. I think it did need to go to further the future of the Mandalorian people and bring them actually all together. I think that was a main point of destroying it because you didn't have to destroy it in that third season, but I think it was extremely important to bring all the Mandalorian people together because at some point, somebody was going to go grab that Darksaber and try to take control of the Mandalorian people again. And they would have had to abide by the rules because that's how the Darksaber works. And now that it's gone, everything can remain a little bit more peaceful, hopefully for the time being, until at least Thrawn comes in and destroys all of them. Yeah. David says, I don't think Omega would like Palpatine that much, given how much she knows how awful the guy is. Yeah, I don't think I don't think Omega would like him at all. I don't think so at all. I think Palpatine's going to be pretty damn cool in this third season. Should we switch gears? All right, let's switch gears to the Bad Batch, okay? We went through all those articles that I wanted to go through. Let's switch gears to the Bad Batch, okay? We are 4 days away from the Bad Batch Season 3, okay? Let me end this poll here. So, this poll, the math is Wait. The math is mathing. For the first time in what seems like a millennia, the math is mathing. Holy shit. Okay. So, 75% of you are excited for this Mandalorian game, and 25% are not, which is a little bit concerning, but okay. That's crazy. The math is mathing. But let's start up a new poll. Let's start up a new poll about the Bad Batch, okay? The Bad Batch is 4 days away. 4 days away. Let's see how many of you are excited for the Bad Batch. Are you excited for the Bad Batch? Oops. The Bad Batch Season 3. Yes or no? You tell me. The Bad Batch Season 3 is 4 days away. We're going to get into some interviews here and some exclusive stuff because a lot of critics, or the critics I should say, have seen the first 8 episodes of The Bad Batch. And what they've been talking about has been quite insane. We went over their reviews and how they say that it's tying the whole saga together from the prequel trilogy to the Mando verse to the sequel trilogy. It's tying it all together. And that means Palpatine stuff, cloning stuff, Exegol stuff, Dr. Pershing stuff, probably Grogu stuff. Like that is going to tie all this together. But there might be something even crazier going on here because we have been talking about how Omega could be force sensitive. And now that these people have seen the first 8 episodes, some stuff has been leaked out. one of the major things is that Omega has a high M count. High M count. And you know what the M stands for? Midichlorians. So this has been confirmed by people who have seen the show and the executive producer and head writer herself, Jennifer Corbett. Corbett? Something like that. I forget. She was doing an interview with the critics who had seen the first 8 episodes. We watched this on Thursday's stream, but we didn't really get into it much. It was confirmed that in these first 8 episodes, we find out that Omega, the Omega, has a high M count, high midichlorian count, meaning she is indeed force sensitive. Like we've all been speculating for the last 5 years, whatever it's been since Mando season 1, Omega has a high M count. She's force sensitive. So this is pretty much confirming that. And in the first 8 episodes of the show, we will be told that directly, that she has a high M count. Meaning going into the back half of the season, the last 8 episodes, we will probably find out that she is force sensitive, that she has force abilities, and like we have been talking about over the last couple weeks, she probably will go off with Asajj Ventress, probably, and Quinlan Vos, and her boy Gungi, and they will all go train to be force sensitive together. It sounds insane, but we'll get into what I'm talking about in just a second here. But let me catch up on some chats before we do. Wargaming says, I feel like if they made another dog saver from Baby Yoda, it would be like a dark saber, maybe you meant to say? A dark saber for Grogu, then it would be like dagger sized. Well, maybe Grogu has to grow a little bit, but it will be a smaller dark saber, I think. Yeah, it'll be more like Yoda's lightsaber. Swagger Like Us says, sup, Mike, I'm awaiting your Star Wars Outlaws live playthroughs. Swagger, what's up? It's been a while. How we doing? How you doing? Wait, Swagger.
Hello there.
What's up? Okay. Fearless says, this is the way, as it is. Anthony says, Mike. What's up, Anthony, by the way? I don't know if you have covered this, but when do you think the Mando game will take place? My guess is between episode 4 and 6. Could be a tie into the movie. I think it will tie into the movie, but I don't think it will be in between 4 and 6. I think it will be either the story of the first 3 seasons, where you get to actually do it in video game form, because it is being said to be like a level type thing, or it will be after season 3, and it will follow Din Djarin as he's working for the New Republic, and you will actually get to see him sort of taking bounties with the New Republic. Either that, or it could be before all of it, and it could just follow Din Djarin before he even meets Grogu, which would be cool. But I want Grogu to be there. To see all my badass bounty hunting. Yeah. Honey Badger says, I'm so hyped for the Bad Batch. Tiffany says, yes, so excited, and right before my B-Day too. That's awesome, Tiffany. Happy early birthday. Actually, we do have another birthday in the house. I don't know if he's here yet or not, but huge shout out to Brandon Baker. Happy birthday, Brandon. Can we get some happy birthdays to Brandon in the chat, please? Huge shout out to Brandon. He's a very good supporter of the channel around here, and it is his birthday today. Happy birthday, Brandon. You know what? Let's celebrate Brandon's birthday a little bit here. That says happy birthday. Happy birthday! This says Brandon. Brandon! Brandon, you almost killed me. So, thanks a lot. Damn it. Jesus Christ. Okay. If it's ever your guys' birthday, make sure to tell me, because we'll get your birthday celebration going. Okay? Yeah. Jesus Christ. Tiffany, when's your actual birthday? We got to get that celebration going. Okay. Let me regroup here. Honey Badger says, Omega, Grogu, and Sabine are 3 of a kind. That's true, because Omega would be a Mandalorian, no? In some sort of way, because Jango Fett was a Mandalorian, and she's the daughter of Jango Fett. That's interesting. That would make her another Mandalorian Jedi, huh? Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? That'd be crazy. Yeah. Anthony says, crap, I was hoping this wouldn't be another Force-sensitive storyline. How is Omega an owner of a high M count, since neither Jango or Boba Fett have one? Is she a strand cast? Well, it's not necessarily like your parents are Force-sensitive, so you are Force-sensitive, you know? It's not like the same thing. It doesn't necessarily mean because your parents are Force-sensitive, you are. Now, there have been some rumors, at least in Legends, that Jango Fett was at one point Force-sensitive, but that still, again, doesn't really have much to do with it. Anakin's mom, Shmi, wasn't Force-sensitive. We don't know who his father is, but let's say even like Palpatine's parents, I don't think were Force-sensitive as far as we know. Obi-Wan's parents weren't Force-sensitive as far as we know. So it doesn't necessarily mean because Jango Fett was Force-sensitive that Omega would be. And it doesn't necessarily mean that Omega is Force-sensitive. That means that Boba Fett is. But I do believe that this means Omega is Force-sensitive. David says, I mean, Omega was meditating that one time with Grogu Gungi. Yes, she did. And that was kind of what I went into in that video about Omega being Force-sensitive with that whole Gungi experience there. That was her first experience with a Force user, and she meditates with him under the tree. I think something will kind of come out of Omega when she sees Asajj Ventress, for sure. Yeah, I think that's definitely what's going on. Yeah. Fearless says, well, I guess with the high M count, she can develop Force abilities at some point if trained, like Sabine. Yeah, so she has to be trained first. She's not just going to be using the Force in this third season of the Bad Batch. But I do think that she will go train with Asajj Ventress and maybe others in some sort of series after the Bad Batch. I do. Yeah. Oh my God, everybody's got a birthday around here. Tiffany's is Friday. All right, I'll have to remember that. You got to remind me. Is that this Friday? It is this coming Friday. Oh, wow, that's crazy. And War Gaming's birthday is a week from today. That's crazy. That's awesome. Okay. Anthony says, well, there is this. Just because someone has an M count doesn't automatically mean that the individual can necessarily wield the Force. That is true. You need the right amount of training, obviously, to wield the Force. And will Omega get that training remains to be seen. I hope she does with Asajj Ventress. How cool would that be? But I guess it remains to be seen. We'll have to wait and see. We'll just have to wait and see. The Force is Anakin's father. Yeah, you could have that. Moff Gideons are Force sensitive. Moff Gideon himself wasn't Force sensitive, but his clones were, which is interesting too. That's a good point. However, I'm sure even Rex meditates, given that he worked with the Jedi. Yeah, meditating doesn't necessarily mean that you're Force sensitive. You know? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, by the way, 92% of you guys are excited for this Bad Batch Season 3, and that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Let's get into this article from StarWars.com with D. Bradley Baker, the voice behind all of it. The voice of Hunter, Wrecker, Tech, Echo, Rex, all the clones is D. Bradley Baker, and we got a exclusive look ahead for the third season of The Bad Batch with D. Bradley Baker. So this is pretty cool. Let's do this. Let's read this up. Wargaming says, sorry, I got to go. Oh, no, Wargaming, we're going to do the call-ins later if you can come back. Don't worry about it. I appreciate you coming by, though. Don't worry about it. All right, let's get into this article right here from StarWars.com. So, D. Bradley Baker, the man, the myth, the legend, the voice behind all the clones, is looking ahead to the final season of The Bad Batch. All right. It's hard to imagine the last decade plus of Star Wars animation without D. Bradley Baker. Starting with 2008's The Clone Wars movie, that is, the Clone Wars movie, he played several characters across many of Lucasfilm's animated series, but as voice of the Republic clones, all of them. He's been a constant presence. What's proved most impressive is Baker's ability to differentiate those clones through subtleties in his performances. From imbuing Rex with a sense of confidence to conveying Gregor's quirks through a higher pitch, he really does allow you to see different clones as different characters by using slightly different voices. That is extremely difficult. In the world of voice acting, which I'm not in, but using different voices and making your voice sound really stupid in different ways, you can have different voices that sound extremely different. This is completely strange territory here. Having a very similar character that sounds slightly different a million times over again is what he has to do to have different clones, to go from Fives to Echo, from Echo to Rex, from Rex to Gregor, to all of them. The Bad Batch are a little bit different. They have more sort of unique sounds, from Crosshair to Wrecker, from Wrecker to Hunter, but the clones themselves all have very, very similar voices. And it's very impressive what this man has been able to do, because he's the voice behind all of them, which is crazy. But let's keep reading. But Baker has truly shined in Star Wars The Bad Batch, playing 5 leading roles of the titular team of genetically mutated clones. Hunter, the steady leader, Crosshair, the angsty loner, Wrecker, the hulking giant with a heart, and Tech, the science whiz, and Echo, the cyborg soldier. These characters often have scenes where they're talking to each other, and as a testament to Baker's talent, you'd never even know that it was just one actor performing all the parts in real time. It's astonishing. So he's doing it in real time. He's going from saying the one line as Hunter to immediately changing his voice in his head and going straight to the line as Wrecker. So next time you're watching The Bad Batch, which we all will be on this Wednesday, but next time you're rewatching or watching The Bad Batch, think to yourself, when there's a conversation between any 2 clones in this show, it's just D. Bradley Baker talking to himself in different voices. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. It's extremely impressive. Through 2 seasons of the Disney Plus animated show, The Bad Batch have tried to survive in the dawn of the Empire. Season 3, premiering on February 21st, this Wednesday, will end the series with Baker is feeling a mix of emotions. I'm excited, I'm gratified, I'm thrilled, really. I'm also a little bit sad, but mostly I'm thrilled to see this brought in for a landing. And mostly because I can't wait to hear fans' reaction to how much they're going to love it and how good it is. If you love The Bad Batch and if you love Star Wars, this is as good as it gets, is what he says. This is wild. This is a guy who's voiced clones in 7 seasons of the Clone Wars. He voiced clones in Rebels with Rex, Gregor, and Wolf. I got it. Can I get some round of applause in the chat? I remembered Wolf. Okay. And now he's doing 3 seasons of The Bad Batch, and he's saying this is as good as it gets for Star Wars. This is as good as it gets. And the critics are saying very similar things. So he tells StarWars.com. And it's just as beautiful job done by executive producer Brad and Jen, and Dave Filoni, of course, and everyone involved with it. Michelle Ang, who's Omega's voice actress, has been a privilege of a lifetime of my career to be involved with it. I must say that's how I feel. It's a privilege of a lifetime. Thanks, Fearless. I appreciate that. Season 2 ended with the shocking death of Tech, which hopefully will remain the same. Please don't bring back Tech. As he sacrificed himself to save a fellow Batcher. They call them Batchers, by the way. For a team with a knack for seemingly getting out of every life or death situation, it took the fandom by surprise. And Baker has heard a lot from viewers since. He says, I've been through a lot of conversations over the past year, and fans are deeply bereft and stricken and holding out hope that Tech is still alive. I tell them it's a life well lived, he said. Baker has tried to comfort fans in the lead up to Season 3, focusing on the meaning behind Tech's final act. It's a soldier's life that is admirable and heroic in all the best sense. A heroic sacrifice is the end that any soldier of the clone army would wish for. We see that actually a lot in Season 2. All these clones are trying to tell the Empire that they are soldiers. They don't want to be decommissioned. And that's a very important storyline in that second season. They all want to die on the battlefield fighting for their republic. And that's what Tech gets to do. And that's kind of why he should remain dead. But here we go. They trained to fight, and they trained to win and work together to problem solve and to do the right thing. And Tech does all of those things in his final gesture to keep the mission alive and save his colleagues, his friends, his family. I couldn't wish the fellow any more. I guess I couldn't wish the fellow any more. For me personally, and for anybody else, yes, we want him to live longer, but I wouldn't want to dull the gesture in the final act of heroism. Very similar to what we've all been saying. We don't want him to come back because it would dull his gesture. His final act of heroism, saving all of his friends, would be nullified if he comes back in this third season. And actually, this right here just made me fully believe that he's not coming back at all. And I think D. Bradley Baker is assuring us that he won't be. We got to look at Dr. Hemlock here, look at Crosshair here. Okay. Season 3 finds the Bad Batch splintered, if not broken. How they pick up the pieces will be the driving question in the early episodes. The biggest predicament is that Omega and Crosshair are in the clutches of the diabolical scientist Dr. Royce Hemlock and his assistant Emery, and we know that Emery is the sister of Omega. What's up, Skywalker Academy? How we doing? It's a question of what they are going to do. Wait, what are they going to do? Omega and Crosshair will... wait, what? It's a question of what are they going to do to Omega, and will Crosshair survive this? So what are they going to do to Omega, and will Crosshair survive? Not will Omega survive, will Crosshair survive? There is nothing good going on there. And clones are very much expendable in the eyes of the Empire, Baker says. He also points to Crosshair's personal arc, especially his epiphany, from Season 2. In Season 2, as his true nature of the Empire and his mistake is in line with it, as a major thread of Season 3. So what happened with Crosshair in Season 2 will continue on this third season, obviously. There's a lot of fans who are very interested in that journey, and rightfully so, he said. It's beautifully written and very compelling story, I think, talking about Crosshair's story. Indeed, Baker has previously named Crosshair as his favorite member of the Bad Batch. That's pretty cool. So the voice of all of them says that Crosshair is his favorite, mainly due to the complexities of the character. The actor hopes that the layers within Crosshair and everything he's been through will be reflected in his performance. He is broken. I mean, he is changed. He's turned, but he's broken, Baker says. He's imprisoned, and he is down about as far as a guy can get, as we saw in that clip that we got last week. He is really far down. Omega comes to ask him for help, and he's like, no, we're done. We're done. And so he is a very different situation from... So that is a very different situation for Crosshair. He's no longer a free agent. He's not free at all. He's a prisoner and also an experimental subject. He is at the mercy of his machine, that he miscalculated to serve at the end of Season 1 and then through Season 2 until he finally realized what his situation was. So Crosshair still served the Empire up until the end of Season 2, until he kills the Imperial officer there. I forget what his name was, but yeah. So the tone and the pace of his character the energy of his character is a different one, of course, from the other Bad Batch. It's one of a beaten man, and one who also harbors a lot of regret and lack hope and lack of a path to move forward. And that is a very different creature from what we've been seeing, what we've seen of him previously. So he's going to be a pretty broken man in this third season, Crosshair, that is. So I still think Crosshair is going to die in this third season. Tell me what you guys think in the chat, but I think Crosshair's a goner because I think he's going to finally fully redeem himself in this arc that he's been going on for 3 seasons now. and sacrifice himself to probably save the others. He's going to be a completely broken man in this third season, and the only way he's going to combat that from what he did from those first 2 seasons is to sacrifice himself. I know how much Fearless wants him to survive, but I still think that he will sacrifice himself at the end of the day. Yeah. But Crosshair is not alone. Omega is also in the Imperial custody, and Baker loves the idea of putting these Batchers together. It's like the clone odd couple. That's pretty good. He is the most reluctant and pessimistic of the Bad Batch by far. So you pair him with the polar opposite of that, which is Omega, who is a can-do, positive, let's find a way, let's have faith in ourselves, and it's all collaborative ability to problem solve things. And in our collaborative abilities to problem solve things. You can't get more of that. You can't get more of that than you do with Omega, which to me is so gratifying and interesting to see this in this third season, is to watch her very much come into her own, which could also be indicating this Force type thing, but we'll get into that too. Not just as a member, but as a leader, as someone who envisions the most daunting problems being solved, and knowing that through her faith and her good friends, that there's a solution that can be found and will be found. And she, by golly, is going to do it. So obviously Omega, we've seen in the first couple seasons, has been, of course, the very optimistic member of the Bad Batch. Always the, we can do it, guys. Come on, we can do it. We can save everybody. And that might actually be the downfall of her in this third season, as she might not be able to save everybody this time, meaning her brothers. And that could be quite sad, to say the least. But and so, as this final season is about to begin and the emotions that come with it for Baker, he's confident in the Bad Batch Season 3 will deliver. This third season will cover everything. I've got to say, having seen it now, he's seen it, that's bullying, that it is the best of the 3 seasons and the most satisfying on all levels of this storytelling. It is the best Star Wars can be. That's insane. That's insane. But let's keep reading. He says, I'm incredibly proud of it and really impressed. It's so beautiful and it's moving and it's meaningful, and it goes in some directions that I think that some fans won't expect. Interesting. And that will be very welcome and memorable in a very enduring way. So, of course, some directions that fans don't expect are probably going to be some deaths in there. But that is the voice behind all the members of the Bad Batch, behind all the clones in the clone army, D. Bradley Baker. And he seems pretty excited for this third season and gets me very excited for this third season as well, as we should be. This third season is going to be incredible. And from what we're hearing from critics, from the actors themselves, this is going to be the real deal. I haven't heard one negative thing about this third season from a lot of people who have seen the third season. So, and these are critics now. I'm not talking just like the actors or Lucasfilm employees. I'm talking about critics, real critics, who, if it was bad, would say it's bad. They're only saying good things. There hasn't been one single negative comment made about this third season. It's going to be incredible. And I can't wait. And it's literally only in 4 days. 4 long days. It's going to be a while, but we'll get there. We'll get there. All right, let's see what you guys are saying in the chat before we keep on going here. Anthony says, now I'm left wondering, was it George Lucas's original intention for Omega to be Force sensitive? To be a Force sensitive Kaminoan clone soldier? Or was she meant to be something else? Well, George Lucas didn't create Omega. Dave Filoni did. Because Omega's not introduced until the Bad Batch Season 1. So she wasn't created by George Lucas. Because Bad Batch Season 1's in like 2018 or something. Whatever it is. 2020? When was the Bad Batch Season 1 released? Does anybody know? What year was that? 2020? It was over the summer of one of those years. I forget. But yeah, no. Dave Filoni created this character. David says, Yoda in the first episode of the Clone Wars did say that the Force... Did say in the Force, all clones are unique because the fact that clones were strong stronger than the average human. Really? Yoda says that in the Clone Wars? Interesting. Anthony says, yes, Yoda says the Force resides in all living things, including the clones. Maybe Omega was genetically made to have the potential for Force abilities. Yeah, that's kind of what we're saying here. She wasn't made to be like a Jedi. She was made to have a high M count. She is the first successful high M counted clone. Fearless says, maybe Omega is kind of the blueprint for Palpatine's own cloning, and he wants to put his essence in. Yeah, I think this is the beginning of all that stuff. With Palpatine cloning on Exegol, all this Mount Tantus stuff, I think Omega is the beginning to that. And the Kaminoan scientists, of course, Nala Se being the most important of them, that's where it all began. From the prequel trilogy, having clones in the Clone Army and Kamino and all this stuff, all the way to Palpatine in Rise of Skywalker, this is all going to be connected. And I think the third season of The Bad Batch is going to do a very good job of bringing it all together. Really telling us what's going on here. Yeah. Swagger Like Us What's Up says, speaking of The Bad Batch Season 2, The Outpost was probably my favorite Star Wars since Tales of the Jedi. Ahsoka Episode 5 and Andor Episode 10 One Way Out arc. Yeah, that episode, The Outpost, that's when Crosshair and was it Mayday? Yeah, I think it was Mayday. Him and Mayday go out on that mission, and then they get an avalanche on them. That is probably one of the best episodes of The Bad Batch, if not the best episode of The Bad Batch so far. Yeah. Rex is secretly a Jedi clone ARC trooper? I doubt it. Yeah. Tony says, and that is why Hemlock is so interested in Omega and Nala Se. Well, yeah, because Nala Se is the key to all of it. She is the most experienced and talented cloner in the galaxy. Yeah. I actually think that's why Omega, can I get some good cops follow orders in the chat, please? And that's why Omega, I think, is so important to Nala Se, because Nala Se knows that she does have Force abilities. Yeah. Yeah. Anthony says, my question, since the end of Season 1 remains... What? Since the end of Season 1 remains, then is Omega able to procreate Force-sensitive soldiers due to her genetic coding, which would decide the galaxy's fate, no? Yeah, because she is one of the only unaltered clones of Jango Fett. So she would be the way to make more clones. So she might be the way to make more Force-sensitive clones, and that's maybe what Nala Se is hiding from the Empire. We'll see. Yeah. Skywalker Academy says, does Omega survive? I don't know. I really don't. I have no clue. I will have to wait and see. But I don't know. I doubt it. Yeah. Skywalker Academy says, just got home from Madam Web. It was pretty good. Really? You're the first person I've heard actually say that it was good of any kind, or in any way it was good at all. I've heard some pretty bad things about that movie. I have not seen it yet, and I probably won't ever see it, but I'm glad you liked it. Hemlock probably would give Dr. Frankenstein the willies. That's great. That's fantastic. No more clones in animation? I don't know. T. Bradley Baker made it sound like this was kind of his last hurrah, and maybe the next animated show doesn't involve him, because if it is an Omega and Asajj Ventress show, then there's not going to be clones involved in that. Maybe a clone appearance every once in a while, but it won't be like the Bad Batch is with clones all over the place. So maybe this is D. Bradley Baker's last hurrah as the voice of all these clones. He'll probably come back to voice clones just in passing, but this will be his last sort of lead role in that aspect, which is kind of sad. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, I guess. Yeah. We still have Kinks. He was frozen in 50 years in Legends. That's true, but again, he won't be on screen, you know. Fearless says, yes, Crosshair survives. He doesn't have to die when he redeems himself. I think he does. I think he has to make the sacrifice play to save everybody and redeem himself fully by dying. But I also think the rest of his brothers are going down with him. I think Hunter's going to die. I think Wrecker's going to die. I think Echo's going to die. I think they're all gone. I think they're all going to die. And it's just going to leave us with Omega. And Omega's going to be destroyed, absolutely heartbroken, but that's, I think, where this show is going. It's going to be a tough, sad show. That's what I'm getting at. I think this show is going to be incredible. I think it's going to be so good, tie in all these aspects of cloning and Palpatine and all this stuff, but it's going to be sad. It's going to be really sad by the end of this. Really, really sad. Yeah. Tired. David says, Crosshair should have never trusted the Empire. Yeah, but it was kind of like his only thing, you know? He always went with the Empire, you know? Tiffany says, I feel like they would make his story arc come full circle, sacrificing himself. Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen with Crosshair. I think that's what's going to happen with all the Bad Batch members. They're all just going to sacrifice themselves to probably save Omega and the galaxy, I guess. Because these clones want to go out the way that they always wanted to go out, in a war. That's what they were made for. It's like the Barbie movie, you know? What was I made for? You were made to go out with a bang. Skywalker Academy says, George and Dave co-wrote all the Clone Wars through to Rebels. That's true, but not the Bad Batch. Actually, Mike, George Lucas created the premiere of the Bad Batch. He brought in the idea for a female Jango Fett clone during Season 6 of the Clone Wars. Interesting. I don't doubt that there was probably thrown around ideas that there was once a female clone. You have an army of millions of male clones. I'm sure that was thrown around at some point. But I'm more so saying that the character of Omega was created way after George Lucas's time. Maybe George Lucas had the idea for it. Maybe he and Dave kind of came up with the idea together. But at some point, it wasn't his idea. You know? Yeah, I know. They can't kill off a kid. I disagree with that. I mean, they've killed off so many characters in Star Wars. Can't kill off a kid isn't really the thing that's holding them back with killing Omega. I think the reason they won't kill Omega is because she has a future. And that future could be a Force-sensitive bounty hunter, Force-sensitive anything really, because she could go train with Asajj Ventress. She could go find her brother Boba Fett. She has a pretty big future ahead of her, and that's why I don't think she will die. I think this will lead into the next show. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about this. This is coming from Inverse, and this is coming from the creators of The Bad Batch Season 3. And they say they wouldn't call this an end. But let's talk about this. Brandon Baker. Look who decided to show up. just kidding, Brandon. Let's give another huge happy birthday to Brandon in the chat now that he is here. We already gave your birthday celebration earlier, Brandon. If you rewind the stream or watch it back tomorrow or whenever, let's give another huge happy birthday to Brandon. Brandon! Happy birthday to Brandon. There we go. That is, of course, doesn't say happy birthday, but let's just pretend you can't read, you know? All right, let's read this article up. Happy birthday, Brandon. I hope it's a good day for you, and I hope you eat a lot of cake, and save me some too. So just like ship it to me, I'll just eat it, you know? Oh, I should have ate. Oh. You guys have to remind me before it's your birthday so that I can bring cake onto the stream and just eat it. Just give me an excuse to eat cake, okay? Just give me an excuse. Brandon says, I was busy today. It was my birthday, and I am 26 years old. That's awesome. That's awesome. 26. You're ancient. Ancient, Brandon. You're old as a 26-year-old is. Just kidding. All right, let's read this. Let's get into this. Inverse says, I wouldn't call that an ending. Just kidding. They didn't say that, but the Bad Batch showrunner reflects on whether or not the season is truly the end of the 15-year-old chapter of Star Wars history. Okay. Old as dirt. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Jay says, Mike, my birthday was Monday. For some reason, I don't believe you, Jay. I feel like I've already told you happy birthday this year. Was it really, Jay? Was it really? Okay. Let's read this, and then we're actually going to do call-ins. Oh, well, you can't read it. Thanks a lot for telling me, guys. We're going to do call-ins right after this article, okay? So let me actually open that stage in the Discord first. So if you guys aren't in the Discord yet, there's a free Discord in the description below, and we are going to open up this stage on there, on the Discord for call-ins, and we're going to do call-ins after we read this article. So if anybody wants to call in and talk with me live on the air, we will do that after this article. Okay? Okay. Let's do it. Let's do it. Jay says no. I actually turned 16. Oh, that's awesome. Big 16. You're old as as dirt. You're old as dirt. Okay. The current era of Star Wars animation could be considered a golden age. It could be. It really could be. Since the release of the Clone Wars movie in August of 2008, the stylized animation covering the prequel era of the Clone Wars and beyond has bridged the gap between the prequel trilogy and then some, building a strong foundation that is now being used in live-action television shows like The Book of Boba Fett and Ahsoka. The last animated series purely about the clones is The Bad Batch, a Clone Wars spin-off focusing on a ragtag group of defective clones who form a found family with Omega, a young unaltered clone of Jango Fett himself. No? I don't know. Over the course of 2 seasons, the group has bonded, worked freelancing missions, and suffered betrayal and losses. Tech, of course, being that one. But after the third season, the Bad Batch and the Clone Wars saga will end. But to quote Luke Skywalker, no one is ever truly gone. Now that live-action sibling series, The Mandalorian, is being launched into the feature film entitled The Mandalorian and Grogu, it's possible that the animated universe could find a similar fate. At least the Bad Batch executive producer Brad Rowe and head writer Jennifer Corbett haven't ruled out the possibility of this going to theaters. I would watch that, Rowe tells Inverse. Even though the show is ending, both of them would jump at the chance to work on an animated feature, a movie. How could you say no to that? Colbert tells Inverse. Working on the show and with the entire team, they are just incredible. That sounds like a fantastic idea, and if it does happen, I will watch it. Would you guys watch an animated movie? Here's the thing. The Clone Wars animated movie that came out in 2008, not 20, 2008. That movie bombed so bad. It's one of the worst rated Star Wars things ever. I think it might still be the worst rated Star Wars thing ever. But the Clone Wars 7 seasons of the animated show is one of the highest rated Star Wars things ever. I think it was very ahead of its time when it came into the theaters. Not a lot of fans knew what to expect because there was Star Wars in the movie theaters. They didn't really know what to do with their hands, so they didn't know what to do. And that's why I got a lot of shit for being animated. But would you guys want to see a new Star Wars animated show, or movie I should say, in the theaters? And what the hell would that be about? But let's read on. But whether that movie will happen or not, Brad Rowe doesn't want to treat the final season of The Bad Batch as an end to the Clone Saga. Interesting. I wouldn't call it an end of the Clone Wars universe, Rowe says, but as the end of a story of this group of clones. Yes, there is always hope that there will be more stories in the future, but just speaking of The Bad Batch, wrapping up our story here with the final season is great. It's a great thing. So he's saying that yes, the Bad Batch story will be wrapped up in this 3rd season, but that doesn't mean that this is the end of the Clone Wars universe. Characters from that universe will continue on. A lot of those characters actually continue on to Star Wars Rebels with Ahsoka and Rex and Gregor and guess what? Wolf 2. Yeah, that's right. I remembered it twice. Just because I reminded myself earlier this stream. Okay, so a lot of those characters do continue. And maybe they'll continue in this next animated show that we've speculated about with Asajj Ventress and Omega. Rowe and Corbett spoke to Inverse about The Bad Batch Season 3 and 2 big cameos that are already revealed and saying goodbye to their newfound family. In this interview, this interview has been edited to clarify and for clarity and brevity. Brevity, whatever. Why end the show after 3 seasons? This is a great question. A lot of people have been wondering this. Why? Why only 3 seasons? The Clone Wars is 7. The Star Wars Rebels is 4. Why 3? Brad says, well, early on we had high hopes that we could tell a story in 3 seasons, and you never know how things are going to go. As we got into the 3rd season, we knew this was going to be our last. So we were really excited at that opportunity to be able to hopefully land the plane the way that we wanted to and be able to wrap up the story with these characters the way that we really wanted to. Hopefully the fans will enjoy it as much as we do. So they always intended it to be 3 seasons, which is good. That's always good to hear. Yeah. What can fans expect from the last handful of episodes? Good question. Jennifer says, a lot more action, twists, and I'd say a lot of emotion. You're going to be feeling things. I will say that. This just means death. This means a lot of characters that we really, really love are going to die. But she does say more action and twists, which is cool. Action and twists are fun to see. Was there any pressure in wrapping things up such an integral part of Star Wars animation? Jennifer says, oh, sure. Just being a huge fan of the Clone Wars and this being a spiritual successor to that, the pressure wasn't from really anyone else but us, of just wanting us to tell the proper story that felt a little different from the Clone Wars given the time period, but also emotionally relatable to the Clone Wars, or like the Clone Wars was. I love telling misfit stories, and of course the Bad Batch are definitely a group of misfits, and these are the Misfits clone squad that adopted a kid and go off and find adventures. The pressure is what we put on ourselves, and we are very happy with how we ended the series, and we just hope that the fans will enjoy it as well. Well, so far so good. The critics are absolutely loving it. Asajj Ventress. Now this is where stuff gets good. Why bring Asajj Ventress back? How has she changed? So, Brad says, well, there's a lot to it. You can't and it was not just up to us. That's interesting too. When we knew that we had the opportunity to have one of our favorite characters come into our show, we were so excited. And one thing we did, we went and looked at the unfinished arc of the Clone Wars, where some of her stories take place. Unfinished arcs, interesting. Which was actually the inspiration for the novel Dark Disciple. Stay with me. So, we went back to the original designs, and there was story reels that we created. She has such a cool hairdo and lightsaber. All of this came from that arc. So all this Asajj Ventress stuff comes from unfinished arcs from the Clone Wars. Interesting. And those same unfinished arcs went into creating the novel Dark Disciple, where Asajj Ventress kind of has to go. Kind of has a canon death. She she dies in this novel, but she remains alive. So that's very interesting. They went back and saw those unfinished arcs from the Clone Wars and wanted to tell more story about Asajj Ventress, even though she has some sort of canon death in a canon novel. And so in closed discussions with the team, we wanted to honor that look and that feel of the version of interest. Now working with Nika Futterman, who is the voice of Ventress, who's so incredible as Ventress, we talked with her a bunch. Her performance is a little bit different from the last time you saw her in the Clone Wars. Some time has passed. So really the big thing for her is why she is important to Omega's story. Even more evidence to this possible next actual show with Omega and Asajj Ventress. The producer, Brad Rowe, said this himself right here. What was really important to Nika Futterman, who's the voice of Asajj Ventress, was how important Asajj was to Omega's story. Again, this whole Omega being Force sensitive and Asajj Ventress being a Force sensitive, obviously, and the fact that she's a little bit different than we last saw her, because in the Clone Wars, she's kind of still a villain in the Clone Wars the last time we saw her, and now she's going to be a hero. She's going to be a Jedi, which is very interesting. But how important she is to Omega's story is huge. And he says, I'm not going to go into those details, of course. You'll have to watch to find out. But that where all of our storytelling came from. If you're going to use this really cool character, how does it impact Omega and our characters? That's pretty interesting. Very, very interesting. Even more. Palpatine's plans. Here we go. This season ties way more in with Palpatine's plans and with cloning experiments. Was this season written more in line to connect with Palpatine's return or the cloning experiments in The Mandalorian? So, how the Bad Batch, which takes place over 40 years before The Rise of Skywalker, how is this going to help with Palpatine's return and the cloning stuff we see in The Mandalorian? Jennifer Colbert says, well, I think when you were talking about cloning, that's been a part of the Star Wars story since very early on. So I won't say that we are building towards one thing or another, but the story team is very much involved with what we are doing from everything in Season 2 and Season 3. So that's kind of answering it without answering it. Of course, Star Wars has always been about cloning from the beginning. From the prequel trilogy to the sequel trilogy to everything in between has always been about Palpatine and cloning. Any mention of what's going on Mount Tantus, stuff that you guys haven't seen yet. We all had group discussions about really what we're saying and why we are saying it. So people are aware of what are connecting some things, and that's really all we can say about that. Of course, they can't spoil anything, but they had a bunch of discussions about what they're saying about stuff going on in Mount Tantus and what they aren't saying, and why it's so important. Fascinating. And the first 3 episodes will debut on February 21st, which is this Wednesday. 3 episodes, by the way, guys. Don't forget. First 3 episodes are this Wednesday. Not just 1, 3. So that's pretty crazy. That's really, really wild. This season's going to be from cloning, from Palpatine, connecting to The Mandalorian and the sequels, to Asajj Ventress and how she pertains to Omega's story. Omega having a high M count. This season is going to be insane. Absolutely insane. From Cad Bane to Fennec Shand to Asajj Ventress to possibly Boba Fett to possibly Darth Vader to possibly Inquisitors. But not even that stuff. To cloning. To Omega. To her being Force sensitive. To the possible end of all the Bad Batch members. To the future of the Clone Wars universe. Continuing in a different animated show. There is a lot to look forward to in this 3rd season, and I can't freaking wait. I'm so excited. I can't wait for Wednesday. I can't wait to do these watch parties. I can't wait for all of it. But there's one question I got to ask you guys. One extremely important question, and we have to figure this out now before I lose my mind. Will The Bad Batch Season 3 come out on Tuesday or Wednesday? Will it be at 3 in the morning again? Will they do that? Will they go back? Or will it be on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at a nice little cozy time period where we can all hop on the internet, come on the stream, watch it together, have a blast? Or we're going to have to wake up in the middle of the night, tired as ever, not being able to comprehend what's going on the screen in front of me, host a stream, and then make a breakdown video as a zombie for the next day. What's it gonna be, Disney? What's it gonna be? I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you want it to be on Tuesday? Do you want it to be on Wednesday? Which would you rather do? Huh? Which would you rather see? Tuesday? Wednesday? A better time for everybody? I guess just me. Or a better time for nobody? Lucasfilm, if you're watching, and we know that you are, please stick with the same schedule that you had for Ahsoka. It was amazing. It was fantastic. It was awesome. And it was much appreciated. It was much appreciated. Here's why I think it will go to Tuesday again, and I think that will be announced probably tomorrow or the next day. I think it will be on Tuesday because Ahsoka was on Tuesday, and it was extremely successful. And not only that, but the next show, which was Loki Season 2, was also on the day before. It was on Thursday instead of Friday, but it was Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time instead of Friday at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I think they will continue that because they did it with Loki as well, and I hope they continue it with the Bad Batch because if they go back to that 3 a.m., guys, I mean, I'm going to be a zombie. I'm going to be an absolute zombie, and I don't know how I'll be able to function. I'll be sitting here watching the show, and that's what will happen. That will be the stream. That will be the stream. 3 episodes at 3 in the morning? You tell me I'm going to be awake from 3 in the morning to 5 in the morning after getting no sleep. That's going to be the stream. It's going to be you guys watching me sleep. That's going to be the stream. So I really need it to come out on Tuesday. So Lucasfilm and Disney, if you're watching, and I know that you are, stick with the other thing. It's great. It's great. All right. Let me see what's going on in the chat. Let's see how we're doing. Let's see. Tiffany says, no, Mike, I'm older than 26, so don't make me feel that old. Oh, Tiffany, you're old as... Just kidding. Just kidding, Tiffany. You are very young. You're very young. You're so young. You're so young. You're so young. Recycled dirt. There you go. Old as recycled dirt. Yeah. Brandon says, I got a PlayStation gift card and a Nintendo e-card as well, and I'm going to have to use them to get the games that I want. That's awesome, Brandon. You going to wait for Star Wars Outlaws or no? Fearless says, well, Mike, I got a lot of tissues here in preparation for the last Bad Batch season. Yeah, I'm going to have to get a box of tissues down here. That's for sure. You're going to see Wonka? That's pretty cool. I heard it's pretty good. Walker, what's up? Says, I didn't miss your stream this time. Let's go. Better late than never. Yeah, better late than never. Jeez. Show up on time. Why don't you? Just kidding. Tony says, Thrawn, Jedi, and Night Sisters are known for being... Wait, what? Thrawn, Jedi, and Night Sisters are known for being described... Wait, what? Thrawn... I'm confused. For deception of being dead. Oh, that's what Thrawn said in Ahsoka. I get you, yeah. Yeah, Thrawn says, like, Jedi, they're never really dead. Of course. Even Luke Skywalker says it. I'm excited for the Bad Batch Season 3, and I am ready for it. Me too, Brandon. Tony says, make Season 2 of the Bad Batch seem like a filler season. Just kidding. No, Season 2 has its moments, for sure. It's got the whole arc with Crosshair that's very important, and of course it leads to Tech's death, you know? Yeah, you could wait for Star Wars Outlaws for sure. I don't know when Star Wars Outlaws is going to come out, so... Turning 28, so I'm holding on to my 20s. Oh, you're only 28. That's nothing. Yeah. And yes, Tuesdays do sound way better. I agree. Brandon says, I wouldn't mind it being on Wednesdays, to be honest. Brandon, I take back my happy birthday. I do. Just kidding. But no, has to be on Tuesdays. I'd hate it. Of course, Brandon, don't worry about it. 3 episodes to watch in the middle of the night? Yeah, it wouldn't be fun. I don't know, but 3 a.m. sounds better for me. It would be 9 a.m. here in Germany. Damn. Fearless, you make a good point, but I don't care. We'll have to take a long nap on Tuesday or sleep earlier than usual to be awake for those Wednesday at midnights. Or they just make it the Tuesdays. Yeah, make it the Tuesdays. Why not, Walker? Why not? A few weeks ago, my daytime was overnight and I slept through the day. Now it's reversed. Well, there you go, Tony. But also I think they'll change it. Oh, probably tomorrow is when they'll announce that they're going to change it, but hopefully tomorrow. Yeah. All right, let's actually see if anybody... Does anybody want to do call-ins? We can do call-ins now, if you guys want. We can do call-ins. That stage is open on the Discord, so you have to come in there and raise your hand if you want to call in. Shit. Okay. I know War Gaming wanted to call in, but he had to go. That's okay. Fearless says, I'll just wait to see and hopefully can attend your watch party. That's true. Hopefully. Yeah, Tuesdays sound great. Tuesdays sound really nice. I agree. Yeah, Tuesdays sound way better. Way better. Absolutely. Could not agree with you more. Could not agree with you more. All right, let's see. What else do we want to get in here? We went over that. We went over that. We went over that. Oh, we've already gone for an hour and 45 minutes. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, let's see. Oh, did you guys know that Harrison Ford's 1976 Star Wars script just sold for 10,000 pounds, I think? 10,000 pounds, maybe? I think that is. Doesn't sound like a lot. Is 10,000 pounds a lot of money? Doesn't sound like a lot. The original script, Harrison Ford's original script for Star Wars. What's pounds to dollars? Let's look it up. Pounds to dollars. It's almost a 1-to-1. I mean, not really, but it's close. 10,000 bucks, that's it. Thanks, Tony. I appreciate that. Brandon's got to go. Happy birthday, Brandon. I appreciate you coming in and tuning into the stream. I appreciate you. All right, I guess we're not doing Collins this week. I don't know why. Nobody wants to do Collins. It's okay. We don't have to do them every week. That's why I wanted to do them all like every other week, you know? We'll do Collins. Actually, I want to do Collins for prediction streams on Tuesdays. That would be better. So this Tuesday is a prediction stream, so watch out for that. And watch out for maybe a video on Monday. I don't have a video scheduled for tomorrow, and I don't think I'll have time to do it tonight, so there probably won't be a video tomorrow. Oh, guys, go watch the video from today. The Mando game video. I made a full-on video about it, breaking it down. Is out now, so go watch that video immediately. And yeah, I'm going to get on out of here. We've been going for almost 2 hours now, which is crazy. So let's end this stream. End this poll. Jesus. I'm completely out of it now. Are you excited for the Bad Batch Season 3? 88, the math is not mathing. 88% of you guys did say yes to the 11% that said no. But we're going to get on out of here. You guys the absolute best. I appreciate all of you guys. We're going to definitely get back to that 4 p.m. start time. I think that's better for most people. And I think it's just a better time, you know? It's not nighttime yet, and I'm tired. So hope you have a great rest of your evening. Smash a freaking like on this video if you haven't yet. How many likes do we even have on this stream? How many likes? Do I even want to look? 16, that's not bad. Smash a like on this video if you haven't yet. Hit that subscribe, hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video in my pretty face. I'll show up a recommended feed of yours. And may the force be with you. Always. Nice, Walker. See, that's why I gotta remind you guys to like the video. Walker's been in here for like 20 minutes and he didn't even like the video. Just kidding. Much love to you all. What a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate all of you more than you will ever know. Hit that subscribe if you have not yet. I don't know what you've been waiting for this entire time. But yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your evening, a great rest of your lives. And good night, everybody. Bad Batch in 4 days.